Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this Friday's version of The Right View. I'm your host, and today we're bringing you thoughtful discussion, clever commentary, and just a dash of that wit with a right touch. Oh, we're also going to see if we can't get Johnny over here a date. Yeah, so pour yourself a hot cup of coffee, settle into your favorite chair, and join us for our perspectives. You're sure to have fun. Buckle up, though, because it's going to be a wild ride with The Right View. Yes, good morning and happy Friday, sirs and ma'ams. It was a great week this week. A lot of great things happened, which we're going to go over. We're going to go over something kind of comical real quick, and we got to hear from Kamala Harris this week, and she gaslit pretty much the whole time on her vision of what America should be. She doesn't say the quiet part out loud. I mean, I will shortly here. But yeah, she gaslit the audience, and she's being celebrated by CNN and MSNBC. But, you know, they're obviously leftist channels. But what can you expect from them? But here's a little bit about what Kamala Harris had to say.
Look, some people are describing what's been happening in recent months as absolute chaos. And of course, I understand why. And it's certainly true of those tariffs. Tariffs that, as I predicted, are clearly inviting a recession. And folks, what we are experiencing right now is exactly what they envisioned for America. Right now, we are living in their vision for America. But this is not a vision that Americans want.
Yeah, she's clearly gaslighting, and her audience loves it. You know, they're going to. I mean, who else would tune in and pay to watch Kamala Harris talk another minute? I didn't think we had to hear from her ever again, and I'm shocked we are. She's not important. She never was. The only reason she even got into office in the first place was her boyfriend Willie Brown, right? As there was tons of pictures of her being his side girl, right? And then she got the nominee to be the vice president when she was the least liked candidate running for president, right? The previous in 2020, when Tulsi Gabbard completely annihilated her.
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. That would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Yeah, I figured I'd bring that up because I thought it was comical. I thought it was comical that they still, even though she was the least liked candidate of all time to run for president, they still chose her to be the vice president of this country, right? Now, we know why they did that, and Joe Biden said it out loud. He said, well, because she was a woman of color. And we know how Democrats vote. They vote based on color rather than merit, right? And they seem to forget what Martin Luther King Jr. preached, which was to judge people based on the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Democrats have forgotten that. The Republican Party has, well, we're absolutely cherishing those words. People are, getting jobs now based on merit rather than color. which is outstanding. So yeah, we're so happy that Kamala Harris and the Democrats' vision of the United States isn't happening right now. Here is her talking about elephants.
I saw that video from a couple of weeks ago, the one of the elephants at the San Diego Zoo during the earthquake. And as soon as they felt the earth shaking beneath their feet, they got in a circle and stood next to each other to protect the most vulnerable. Think about it. What a powerful metaphor.
I have a perfect metaphor for that, and it has to do with a border wall and border protection, right? Now, the earthquake would be the invasion of illegal immigrants into our country that were mostly, 90% unvetted, so we didn't know who they were, and a lot of them were terrorists. They're still being caught today. Terrorists in this country, invited in by the Democrats, and we all know why they did that. It was to get illegal votes, and we know that they got illegal votes. Good thing red states and the people of this country came out to vote, because I don't know what this country would have turned into if the Democrats would have won again. They're obviously communists, and we're not having that. All right, and here's a clip of Stephen Miller.
The law-abiding citizens under the previous administration were punished while gangbangers were given red carpet treatment. Democrats, of course, are still giving gangbangers red carpet treatment. And then the border invasion. If those policies had continued, it would have been the end of the American Republic. And the only thing Americans want to hear from Kamala Harris is an apology for joining Joe Biden, and remember, she was the border czar, joining Joe Biden in aiding and abetting the invasion of our country. And we're never going to stop talking about this, because what they did to this country is unforgivable.
Yeah, like I said, we dodged a bullet, because if Harris would have won the presidency, thank God no votes came in at 3 a.m. again. But if she would have won the presidency, the border would have stayed open. They would have got another bipartisan border bill where they would have sent $8 billion to Ukraine this time, and they would have signed 20,000 more border agents to process more immigrants across our borders to line them up for nationalization so that they can vote in the next election. All right, in lighter news, you take this for what it is, but the U.S. and Ukraine have reached a mineral deal. So the deal entails the formation of a joint investment fund that Ukraine sees as a way to harden the U.S. backing for the war-torn country, though it does not include specific security guarantees, which Kyiv has demanded as part of a larger peace deal. It symbolically attaches Trump to the nation's future, and according to Washington, marks a step towards ending the largest land war in Europe since World War II. As the president has said, the United States is committed to helping facilitate the end of this cruel and senseless war. So we'll see what happens with that. Kind of sounds to me like we're trading minerals for missiles in a sense. I'm torn between it, right? Because I don't think the U.S. should have ever been attached to this war. I mean, I think the reason why we were attached to this war was the Bidens, to be completely honest. And then we got our foot in the door, found the minerals over there, and that's why Russia wants Ukraine as well. So I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see what comes down the pipeline with that. All right, quick little Doge finding. This is from the Denver Post. So the Trump administration rescinds Denver grant worth $24 million for migrant shelters, following through on the threat. FEMA letter says the city won't get money from federal programs. $8 million has already been received. The Federal Emergency Management Agency will no longer pay Denver about $24 million in promised grant money to cover what the city already spent to shelter migrants, according to a letter sent this month. I mean, these people should have never been spending this money in the first place. There's ICE internment camps. They could have been spending $100 a day on the illegal immigrants and got them into the country the right way, rather than putting them up in $500 a night hotels. Who knows what they're doing over there in Denver? Denver's a wild place, and well, I guess the taxpayers are going to have to pay for that money that was spent, and it doesn't really matter because they voted for it in the first place. So good luck to them. All right, and a person living in California, they got upset about my post about a walkthrough. Well, the YouTube clip was. It was third world country or California, right? And what I was showing was the Democrat-run city of Oakland in California. But they got upset about that, and they said the redwoods are beautiful. They told me I wouldn't show a picture of the redwoods, and I told them I would. So here are some beautiful California redwoods. See, I'm not a liar. I will show the tranquility of the redwoods of California. And I'd also like to reiterate that California is a garbage heap. If you don't like what I'm saying here, you probably have blue hair. You probably have a septum piercing. You probably wave a flag with a rainbow on it. And you probably also hate people that eat meat. So you can have Kamala Harris back. We don't want her. But for the rest of you listening, you know, the cheerful ones out there, the not so much communist ones out there, I hope you have a wonderful and safe weekend. Don't drink and drive. Get some sun out there. Don't forget your sunblock. Remember, also, get out there, do some PT. Don't drink pop. And yeah, wishing you all the best. All right, I love you. Bye.